Hey, everybody. Happy Friday afternoon. Alan Weber from the Mayor's Office. Thanks for joining us. It's our usual webcast with a special guest. Dr. Wendy Johnson, the Chief Medical Officer from La Familia, will be spending some time with us this morning to kick things off because of where we are with COVID-19 and statewide and in the Santa Fe County region. So let me just set the stage by saying a couple things and then ask Wendy to give us an overview, and then I've got some follow-up questions. But a couple things first. As I always like to do with the webcast, I want to bring you some numbers. Yesterday we had 17 new cases, but the day before that we had 64. Folks like Wendy who do this for a living always say, don't look day to day. There's fluctuation. You're not sure what you're measuring. But over a 7-day average, we've got a rolling average of about 31 new cases per day. So it's reason to be concerned. It's reason to be disciplined, to go back to kind of what we were doing in March and April and May when we had the numbers. We were bending the curve. We were really attentive to it. Statewide, we saw a surge day before yesterday of about 827 cases statewide. So a lot of it isn't here. A lot of it's in other parts of New Mexico where people are crossing the border, perhaps into El Paso and coming back. But we need to be alert. Remember to download the NoVid app so you can get an early warning system. City's almost done with a memorandum of understanding with the NoVid folks from Carnegie Mellon, where it was originated. So we have even more robust information to help keep people safe. So with that as a brief overview, Wendy, good to see you. Thank you for being a guest star on our webcast. You have been working on COVID-19 and leading the medical charge at La Familia. Where are we and what are you seeing and what's the message folks should take home?
Yeah, well, first I want to say that I think Santa Feans have done an awesome job. So I just want to commend the Santa Feans and people who live in the county and the city. You know, I go out, I see folks wearing masks. I see folks being responsible. I see folks being socially distanced. I see folks being polite to each other too, which is great, and not the reports we're getting from a lot of the other part of the country. So I think we need to commend ourselves, even when we're all kind of stressed and scared, and it is scary. We need to say, hey, we're doing a good job. We need to keep doing that good job. So what does that mean? You know, a lot of public awareness campaigns around COVID talk about the 3 C's to avoid three C's to avoid. So avoid crowded spaces, avoid close contact with other people, and avoid closed spaces that have poor ventilation. Okay. So if you can do those 3 things, there's a very good chance that you're going to stay safe in all this. I have downloaded the NoVid app on my phone. I keep checking it and see how many contacts I have, and I keep not having any. And I think, is it working? But I tested it the other day. It is working. And it's good if you don't see you've had any contacts, because that just tells you that you're doing those 3 things. Okay, so if you download it and you're like, wait, this isn't working. No, that's great. That's like, pat yourself on the back. You're doing a good job, because it only will tell you if you're within 15, if you are within 6 feet of somebody for 7 to 15 minutes. So it's only going to ping until you're close to another user. And then, of course, if the user is positive, you'll get a ping about that, but you'll be told both things on the app, how many people. So it's a good gauge for yourself to say, am I doing a good job at the 3 C's? If you download the app and you see that, you know, you haven't been around anybody, that's great. The other thing, you know, obviously mask wearing is really important. I know we're getting tired of that. I go to the dog park, the Ortiz dog park a lot. And, you know, even though we're all outside and even though we're all, you know, mostly 6 feet apart, I do see people being really good about mask wearing. And I just want to say thanks for all that. And let's keep that going. Even outside, even when you're, you know, you never know when you're going to come into contact with somebody. So we're doing a good job. So why do we have this surge? Well, I think there's a lot of reasons. I think, we are part of a larger community in New Mexico that, and, a lot of folks live and work in Albuquerque, or either live in Albuquerque and work here or vice versa. So we have a lot of back and forth. And then Albuquerque, of course, has a lot of back and forth with the southern part of the state too, as do, a lot of people work in jobs where they travel around the state as well. So we can't put a wall around Santa Fe. And we're, dealing with a lot of in and out, and people coming in and out. People with either with their jobs or their families. They have families that they're visiting in other parts of the state as well. So what's really important, as we're recognizing that we're part of this larger community, is to be really responsible. So if you have symptoms, get yourself tested. Isolate yourself as soon as you have symptoms. Familiarize yourself with the symptoms on the website, but certainly if you have fever, if you have cough, if you have shortness of breath, if you lose your sense of taste or smell, these are very common, and nausea and diarrhea also. So if you start to have symptoms, just be on the safe side. Don't go to work. Don't, even if, I think it's just allergies, I think it's just food poisoning, don't go to work. Stay home, isolate yourself. If it gets better and it doesn't develop into anything, okay. If you start to get worse, or if the symptoms, especially if the loss of taste or smell, that's the one that not a lot of other diseases really have. So especially if you get that, or like I say, cough or short of breath or fever, get yourself tested as fast as possible. If you're around somebody that has COVID, you need to self-isolate for 14 days. Even if you test negative, you still need to self-isolate for those 14 days, because if I'm around somebody today that has COVID, then let's say they call me 2 days from now and say, I tested positive and we had dinner on Friday. Oh, okay. Well, I need to realize that I may show symptoms anytime between 2 and 14 days after I'm around that person. So I need to self-isolate myself until I know I don't have it. I implore, there's special programs to pay sick leave for people if employers take advantage of them. So I hope any employers watching this make it easy for their employees to stay home if they're sick. So that's another important piece here. Our hospitals are filling up, because a lot of this, again, we're not a closed off community. So we do have a lot of Santa Feans. We already have 13 deaths in Santa Fe from COVID, so that's significant. But we have people coming into our hospitals. We have the highest rate of hospitalization right now since the beginning of the epidemic, higher than when we had our other peaks. And the highest percentage of people that are hospitalized are that group from 34 to 64, I think, 35 to 64. So, it's not just, it's an old people thing and I don't have to worry about it because I'm younger. No, it's not that. I just have to protect my grandmother. No, you can get it too if you're even younger than 35, but 35 to 64. I think everybody's aware that we had a teenage death in New Mexico in the southern part of the state last week. So, it can affect anybody. And even if it doesn't lead to hospitalization, doesn't lead to death, we're learning now it has long-term effects on a lot of people, heart problems, neurological problems that might last for months or even years. We don't know. So it's a serious disease. Try to be responsible. If you think you might have been exposed, if you think you might have symptoms, play it safe, stay home, get tested, and follow the guidelines. And we'll get out of this. We will, because we're a strong community and we're united. And I think we will get out of this.
And I think people do want to look after each other fundamentally.
Absolutely.
It's an all in it together kind of moment. We're coming up on a weekend. Some people may watch this later, but this is a Friday afternoon. It's another glorious weekend. What are some things to be very aware of that might happen during weekends when folks might let their guard down or think, oh, it's such a great day. Let's get the family together in the backyard and have a barbecue one last time before the cold weather hits. What do we need to do to help each other?
Yeah, today and tomorrow might be our last nice days. I bet we'll have a little Indian summer at some point, but we need to really be careful. It's your grandmother's birthday and it's last night's weekend, and everyone says outside is okay, so we're going to go outside. But then we don't really go outside. We go in and we cook and we're inside, and this is my family, so I'm not going to wear a mask. And oh, I haven't seen my mom in a while, so I'm going to give her a big hug. I know it's really tempting. I know it's getting really tiresome. Believe me, I've been working really long hours for like 8 months now. We're all stressed out. We're all tired. I would love nothing more than a good massage and to hug my friends, but I'm not going to do that. And I really urge you to resist those desires too, especially right now, because one thing, although our testing rates are still pretty good in Santa Fe, I think the Department of Health has a site, but the last update is from the 12th of October. So that's 10 days ago now. So as of the 12th of October, we were still testing under 5% positivity rate. And what that means is that probably we're getting most of the people who are positive, but the last surge of the last 10 days isn't reflected there. So I'm not sure what our positivity rate is as of yesterday, for example. So when we have a surge like this, and if our testing doesn't go up an awful lot to kind of accommodate that, we run the risk of not really knowing who's positive. So even if you're with your family, even if they're not symptomatic, the fact that we have such a surge means there are people in our community that could be infected and could be asymptomatic. So just treat everybody and yourself as if you're potentially contagious. And again, those 3 C's. Even, you can have a safe gathering. Remember that the state requires under 5 now. But even if you want to have a gathering of 5 people, a dinner outside, you can still do all those things. You can still distance, you can still be outside in an open space. You can still wear masks whenever possible. So I urge you all to do those things.
And I remember when this thing first came and we were all trying to figure out what to do, there were some very specific do's and don'ts. Do use hand sanitizer. Wash your hands frequently. Don't put your hands up to your face. If you don't need to make a trip, don't make the trip. There is a direct causation, it looks like, between number of miles we travel and the number of cases we experience. So if you have a neighbor who might be a little vulnerable, do their grocery shopping for them and cut down by one whole trip somebody having to go out. There are lots of little things that make, when you add them up, they make a big difference. I'm sure you see that in your role at the hospital.
Yeah, absolutely. We urge people to, if there, a lot of people have childcare issues now with the schools being home. There are a lot of people having a lot of stressful situations. But as much as possible, if you're going to go shopping, try to go alone. Try not to bring the whole family. Stuff like that. Try to minimize your trips out, and try to minimize the number of people that are traveling together too.
Yeah.
Those are all important.
Any last advice? Any particular ways we can help each other make ourselves remember how we want safe Santa Fe. We want to keep Santa Fe safe and open and together. I do believe that safe is where we are right now. We've got to ascertain. We've got to protect. We have to do the disciplined things that were with us at the beginning, and we proved we could bend the curve. It's time to bend the curve again.
Yeah, I think we're a great community. I think we really are a national example, really, of how people can stick together and take care of their neighbors. In fact, I hear anecdotally, a lot of people are moving to Santa Fe, and a lot of tourists coming in, because they're attracted to this community. And let's make sure that both the folks that have been here a long time and the new folks coming in know this is how we behave in Santa Fe. This is how it's going to be. And if you want to be here, that's okay, but you need to really follow these rules, and we need to stay together, keep everybody safe, and keep doing what everybody's doing. Because I really do think if everybody continues to do the great job that they're doing and really be conscientious and really understand that my actions can really affect my whole community, we all need to hang together. I think we can get through this, and I think we'll be able to survive and be stronger for it.
Yeah,
So let's go.
I think we've got everything we need. It's a long and ongoing effort. It's not something you declare victory or declare defeat. You keep working at it. And we have the discipline. We've got the tools. If you need a free face mask, we've got them. If you need hand sanitizer, we've got them. If you need a test, there are tests. If you're worried and you need emotional or mental health services because this is a stressful time, we have people to talk to. So the
Yeah,
resources are here in this community. We just have to all pull together, and we're going to make it through this. We just have to recognize this is a bump in the road right now, and we can make it. Thanks,
yeah.
Wendy. We'll do this again. It's good to have
Fair.
the voice of a public health expert, and you've been on many calls where I've been listening and taking notes. I think it's fair to say you really are on the pulse of the community. So thank you so much for joining this call, and we'll have you back for another one.
Thank you. Thanks a
Thank you.
lot.
You stay safe
Stay
too.
safe
Yep.
and stay safe, Santa Fe.
Thanks, Wendy. Well, that was phenomenal. She really does have an enormous amount of firsthand knowledge and experience and expertise. So I know I listen when she talks because she knows what she's talking about, and she's really a tremendous gift to our community. A couple other things. I do want to remind everybody to get your flu shot. Flu shot season is here. As Wendy and I were just talking about COVID-19, it's also flu season. And if you combine COVID-19 with the flu, you've got a really very dangerous combination. So please get your flu shot. Make sure that the practices you use, we all use to stay safe from COVID, will also keep us away from the flu. And if we have a lower flu season, a less severe flu season, may bring down the COVID numbers. It all makes us safe and better off. Food distribution, Saturday, October the 24th, 9 to 11, the Food Depot. They're doing an amazing job helping make sure that people in Santa Fe who need help get help. Food distribution at the Santa Fe Place Mall, 9 to 11. A big thank you to the Santa Fe Place Mall for continuing to be a good corporate citizen and making their space available so people can come through, get food, and not even get out of their vehicles. Stay safe, stay distant. 9 to 11, Food Depot, food distribution. If you have a little bit of extra money in your pocket, send some money to the Food Depot. They have to buy the food to give it away. So if you can help them get food, it helps everybody in Santa Fe stay fed. We are still doing voting. I got some notes here about early voting. Places to vote early in person or to turn in your absentee ballot. Of course, the Community Convention Center, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Tuesday through Friday, noon to 8, and Saturday, 10 to 6 at the Christian Life Church, at the County Fair Building, and at the Southside Library. Early voting is really going gangbusters. That's great news. This is a critical election, as you all know, up and down the ballot. And we're all very aware that democracy is not a spectator sport. It's something we all need to participate in. It's both a right and a responsibility. So make sure you vote, but also make sure your friends, your neighbors, your family members all also vote. Wear a mask if you're going out. Make sure you are safe in going to the polling place, but cast your ballot, get one of those great I voted early stickers and wear it around town, show it to your friends, get them voting. Vote early, make sure your vote counts, make sure your voice is heard. Also coming up, and online, this is again, the Santa Fe Public Library's probably got the most creative group of people in city government. They are awesome in their recognition that people need some fun, they need some opportunity for learning and education, edutainment combined. And this, let's see, October the 28th at 1:30, an online performance with Felicia Sanchez Garbizo as she retells some of her favorite stories written by some of our favorite authors, including Red Riding in the Hood and ghost stories just for Halloween. So if you want to sign up for that, You can do it and register at the event. Go through the Santa Fe Public Library. There is a URL, https:// y5cypwys. Very complicated. We'll put it up on the screen. But make sure you and your family can enjoy some online storytelling right for this season. One other thing I want to continue to plug, if you are a fan of bingo, and who isn't, and you're a fan of shopping, and who isn't, and you want to help support our retail establishments in Santa Fe, pick up your Santa Fe bingo card. You can go out and get your card filled, get the stamps. When you fill it out, you can mail it in and win a prize. You're also helping our stores, our shops, our mom and pop locals stay open, stay alive, keep people working, keep paychecks coming, putting food on the table. Santa Fe Retail Bingo, courtesy of our tourism team and our economic development team, doing a great job. One last thing, you've probably heard me talk about the CHART committee. The CHART committee is the effort from the city government to engage our entire community in conversations about culture, about history, art, reconciliation, and truth. It is work that I was doing this summer that became even more essential and urgent with the toppling of the obelisk by a group of people who took the law into their own hands. Now we need to pull together and heal and bring our community together going forward. This committee is a proposed resolution. It's up on the city's website. You can read it. It'll be taken up by all three of our city committees. We have three standing committees to organize the city government's business. The first one that will hear this proposed resolution for a CHART committee will be the Public Works and Public Utilities Committee. Then it'll go to our Quality of Life Committee. Then it'll go to our Finance Committee, and then it will come to the governing body for a vote. Every member of the city council and the governing body will have a chance to discuss it, come up with ideas for improving it. People in the community are not only welcome, but urged to have your voices heard. There are three tasks that I've laid out in this resolution for the committee. The first is an extensive and inclusive community engagement program so that everyone's voice can be heard. We'll go out and ask you how you think Santa Fe and the region, northern New Mexico, can heal, can come together. We'll ask you about your family experience. We'll ask you about your values and your own ideas for how we heal as a community. That's piece number one, is a listening experience and an opportunity for everybody to speak up and speak out. Task number two is to look at our public art, our statues, our memorials, the ones we have, but also the ones we don't have, ones we need to charter so that there is a full display of the art and the culture and the history of Santa Fe and northern New Mexico. And this committee should look into that question and again, get advice from people across the community. And the third task is to look at our histories, all of our histories, the many different narratives that describe Santa Fe and northern New Mexico from every possible vantage point, every possible part of our community, every civic group, every organization that has a stake in our history, and get all of those histories woven together. Because we know there is a history of pain, but there's also a history of love and compassion. There's a history of suffering, and there are many more histories of people caring for each other and looking after each other and blending our history into a beautiful woven tapestry that we all share. Those three pieces of work are things I would recommend this committee do, but there may be more ideas or other ideas that ought to go into the mix. It's chartered under my draft proposal to last for 2 years so that this committee can take its time, it can deliberate, it can listen, and it can advise. Ultimately, the recommendations will come back to the governing body for enactment, whether it has to do with public statues and public art or a curriculum about our history that we can all share, take into the public schools, and learn together about how to tell our narrative, share our stories, and really understand how we all belong here together. It's an act of healing. It's an act of listening. It's an act of coming together and understanding that ultimately we're all in this together. That this is not a time for anger. This is not a time for lashing out. We can do that and be like every other part of America that's getting smaller and smaller because it's dividing itself into smaller and smaller pieces. That's a choice. And some communities are choosing that. But here in Santa Fe, we don't choose that. That's never been the way we've treated each other, talked to each other, worked with each other, celebrated with each other. And so the really important choice in front of us is to come together and to listen and heal together. This CHART committee, CHART stands again for Culture, History, Art, Reconciliation, and Truth. It's only one step. There are more things we can do. We can have prayer groups. Last Monday, there was a group of spiritual leaders on the plaza at 9 a.m. to lead a prayer circle. I hope that happens every Monday as a remembrance and a commitment to heal our wounds and bring prayer and reconciliation to our community. So we can do that. We can talk among ourselves in our different groups, whether it's a civic group, a reading club, it doesn't really matter. This is the conversation Santa Fe needs to be having right now across our community at every level in every part of the city. So I welcome your thoughts and your ideas and your suggestions, your feedback, your questions. Please send them into the mayor's office. We're looking for names of people who could serve on this committee. My proposal has 21 slots for people to fill from different parts of our city and our region, representing different groups, but also skills. We need some historians. We need some people who have the ability to heal and bring people together. We need people who understand the law. We need people who are really adept at understanding culture and art. All of these are welcome on this working group, this committee. If you're interested, send your name to the mayor's office. If you want to nominate somebody, send in those names as well. We'll collect a comprehensive list of people who ought to be considered. In the process, we'll take all of those names, all of those skills, all of those points of view into consideration as we put together, going forward, a committee that will open up dialogue, discussion, and reconciliation and healing across Santa Fe. That's about it for today. A special thank you to Wendy Johnson for joining us. Going forward, we'll have some other guests as we continue to confront COVID-19 and try to bend the curve. We'll talk about some of the economic impacts of COVID-19 and how the city and the county are working collaboratively to address those. And we'll have more information about the CARES Act money that we're putting out into Santa Fe to help people and businesses make it through. We're going to make it. It's going to be something we do together. It will test us, but we are up to it. I know we're up to it because early on, our numbers were the lowest of any place in the United States. So bend the curve, stay safe this weekend, keep your family safe, keep yourself safe, take care of our community, and together, let's all take care of Santa Fe because we all love Santa Fe. Thanks for watching. Have a safe weekend, and I'll see you next week. Take care.